Fox Sports headline talking about the Keystone XL pipeline. They got the lobbyists in Washington really pushing for it. So let's examine exactly what to expect if the Keystone XL gets pushed, if it doesn't get pushed. Well, first of all, we've done some reporting and we've noticed that there's additional pipelines. They've already dug half of the Keystone XL pipeline. They dug the southern leg before they joined the northern leg. A political distraction where you have the president who's opposing the pipeline, which is clearly the views of the majority of the public, at least the public that is educated. And at the same time, you've got the oppositional forces, and they're playing off of each other. And you have to understand that in today's day and age, the politicians have the internet at their disposal and all the digital communications. It's much easier to find out what side of the fence somebody is on today than it was even a decade ago. So, knowing where the public stands, the idea is to have the president stand with the public, or so we think. And yet, there has been additional pipelines, one of which is called the Keystone XL clone, that have already been built for the same purposes, to transport the tar sands oil from Canada across the United States. Now the lobbyists are saying that it's going to get transported either way, whether it be by train or by truck. But they haven't given any explanation of why that is. And we know that the trucks are more of a factor of pollution than the trains are, or rather than a rail is. And yet we have the risk of the rail cracking and seeping its oil into the water surface, which would not be the risk of the truck, which they seem to neglect. So that's the major risk. We're not going to overlook that. The idea is that the pipes are not going to withstand the amount of pressure and they're going to explode, and we're going to end up with another spill, as we've seen from Exxon, from BP, and from all the major oil companies. Killing off our wildlife, killing off our natural habitation, the green, and worse, killing the water source. Now what are we going to do without water? I mean, I just, you know, the people that are pushing for this pipeline, I consider to be extremists, terrorists. Yeah, sure, they got it made. They got plenty of money in their pocket. And by the way, that's the only reason why they're pushing for the pipeline. Take their salary away and see how many arguments they come up with. So that's the first thing we need to recognize as people. We need to honor the people who are actually fighting for a purpose, fighting for a cause that's deep within. Not fighting because they're going to get a paycheck so they can feed their family and put a roof over their head. And by the way, it's an extravagant roof, isn't it? When we're looking around the world, don't just look at the cause, but look at the root of the cause. What is the root rooted in? Is it rooted in majesty, or is it rooted in corruption? So what are we going to do with this pipeline? The president can veto it, but they can push it in the next term with Rand Paul or Hillary. 50 permanent jobs. You know, if they moved marijuana, let's say hemp, let's say hemp to be on the safe side. Let's say Canada came into an agreement, Northern Free Trade Agreement, and started to move hemp across the United States. Do you think that anybody would oppose that? I mean, anybody without an agenda other than their own. Do you think that anybody would have any reason to oppose hemp rope, hemp clothes, hemp food, hemp protein? Well, around the rest of the world they haven't. You know, get the mainstream media out of the way, and let's get some real truth here. Do you really think people would oppose hemp being moved across the border? But we can't, because it's illegal. It's legal in Canada, so we're going to listen to them. But here, we are a vehicle for the ruling rulers that happen to live anywhere but here. Nobody can get to them, protected by all the guards and cameras and everything. Doesn't anybody see? Now, if we can organize as people, right, get all these poo-putt smucks out of the way, right, that are sitting in between us and the ruling rulers, and we can take back what's ours, man, our resources around the earth. Remember, they're the ones that came up with the system of industrialization, which polluted the entire environment, the entire earth. So they're the ones that are guilty.